Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win or you find a way to lose. Please like and subscribe. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram and leave that donation for whatever you think Hood Champion should use it for. Now, I see a lot of people are talking about, hey, we've been following your channel for a long time, man. You've been consistent. You talk sense. We love your channel. If you like my channel, right, why don't you become a member? Couple dollars a month. What's $3 a month, man? If you enjoy it, to support me, right? I'm retired, life is good, but it can always be better. And I enjoy doing these videos, but that little money will give even more motivation. But anyway, I just appreciate y'all's support. Now look, man, hey, yo, hold your horses. And let's not take it to the stupid. See, some Canelo fans out there, man, they support their boy. But, you know, a conversation came up. Because I read a lot of the comments, especially at night when my kids go to sleep. I try to read a lot of them. I try to get to most of them. But this whole thing about Crawford putting on size, Crawford coming in the ring, and Crawford doing everything he can to match Canelo's power, possibly size, and to, at a minimum, try to just maintain what speed he already possesses. Because, you know, when you go up in weight, sometimes you compromise speed. So we know Crawford and his team are doing everything they can to, at a minimum, maintain his speed. But the question came up, okay, since Crawford is looking to come in the ring fast, powerful, we know he's already brilliant. Shit, what if Canelo comes in lighter? I'm like, lighter? Like, yeah, what happens if Canelo says, you know what, I'm not going to try to come and just outweigh him by 20 pounds on fight night because I realize I'm in there with somebody who's very agile and who's probably going to be faster than me. And although I have timing, he has timing too. So I can't afford to be 2 or 3 steps behind Terrence Crawford in my speed. So now I will show my speed and expect to see Canelo come in the ring with a streamlined physique. What if he comes in light, people? There's some pros and cons to that, right? Now, I'm not saying he is, but I'm not saying he's not. What I'm saying is, on this channel, we have conversations. So let's conversate about it. Now, if Canelo comes in like, I keep hearing, you know, like, well, I've even talked about it. He's got flat feet. He's got heavy feet, you know what I mean? Like he's standing in a goddamn big-ass pot of potato soup. Feet just sloshing all around in that heavy-ass soup and shit. Feet just can't move fast enough to get in the ring with a guy like Terrence Crawford and think he's going to be able to catch up to him. But shedding weight can make Canelo more agile. We have seen Canelo, you know, at the lighter weights, be very agile, very nimble, very quick. But since moving up to 168, especially the last 4 or 5 fights, I mean, not so much. The timing's there. He has hand speed, but it's not that lightning fast like it was when he was in the lighter weights. But the reality is, if he does that, that could help him, being at a lighter weight, be even more effective with cutting the ring off. And with Crawford in that lateral movement, Canelo can do a much better job keeping up with him. The thing to understand is, let's say Canelo decides to come in the ring and be lighter on fight night, right? Even if Canelo gives up a little bit of his power to be more nimble, he's still going to be stronger than Crawford. Still should hit harder than Crawford. But now he can show him his speed and match Crawford speed for speed. And now you got some problems. Now the fight becomes even more interesting because it's like, shit, maybe Canelo gives up a little punch resistance. I doubt it. That chin is great, but the body, who knows? But if he comes in and his hands are super fast now, his feet are super fast, maybe Crawford can't get off those shots that he and his team were planning on getting off because they no longer had this slow, turtle-like, cumbersome Canelo. And that's a reality. That shit could be interesting. Now, the other thing that Crawford and his team seem to be depending on, which is something that has proven to be a fact with Canelo, is he will slow as the fight goes on. Once you get around 6, 7, or 8, he normally has control of the pace of the fight to where he's comfortable. But if you push him, he will fatigue. And even he came out and admitted that he got tired against Bivol because the way Bivol pushed him. You better believe Crawford's going to be looking to push him the same way. A lighter Canelo, maybe the stamina will surprise everyone, even Crawford. Look, the fact is, if you put on mass, you tend to slow. And if you reduce your mass, you tend to get a little bit faster. Less mass might allow him to maintain a higher pace. Now Canelo's throwing another 20 punches around. That makes a difference over 12 rounds. Something that he struggled with in his last few fights. So now you got where Crawford and his team, this shit is like going to war, right? But the psychological warfare where maybe Crawford and his team would have entered the fight and the first bell goes off, ding, ding, ding. And they feel like they will be able to come out with their speed and their power and their size and get Canelo's attention, kind of like Roy Jones got John Ruiz's attention. But now all of a sudden, they can't quite get it because they're expecting to have a stationary target in front of them. Canelo more like mannequin Nello, right? Just kind of stiff and right in front of them, and now they don't have that. And I'm just telling you, man, psychologically, I just think for Crawford, I think that could affect him because Crawford takes his speed serious. And if he gets in there and sees that, holy shit, my speed isn't making a difference because Canelo is matching him, it's going to disrupt all of Crawford's expectations. And again, I think it messes with his confidence. And I think psychologically, over the course of the fight, Crawford will start to deteriorate. And you could see him turn into a Jermell Charlo. Now, remember, this is just a conversation because some of y'all be taking it to the stupid with the shit I say. But remember, I'm here to have a conversation to make you think and get a reaction. So just enjoy the conversation. But there are major risks for a guy like Canelo stripping muscle off because there's no fat on Canelo. You look at Canelo, that joker's built like a damn spark plug. There's no fat on him. So to think that he could possibly, cut down a little bit more to be more agile, to be more nimble. I mean, I don't know. I guess it's possible, right? But one thing for sure, his punching power has been a huge part of his success. And I just think, since Canelo ain't really been getting knockouts, if he loses just a little bit of his power, and that's probably his biggest asset coming into this fight, then that could work against him. I really think he could be kind of blunting his ability to hurt Terence Crawford if he gives up some of his power. I think he's going to need all of his power to keep Terence Crawford honest and to make Crawford, realize, just like Jermell Charlo, this shit is different. Even Jermell Charlo said when he first got hit, he was like, that dude's a bull. He said, I ain't never been hurt like that. He said, first time in my boxing career where I was actually hurt, I was buzzed. So that tells you all you need to know. Now, I'm pretty sure we'd all agree Jermell Charlo is no pushover. But for him to get hit by Canelo and feel some shit that he's like, I ain't never felt that, and refer to Canelo as a bull, that means if Canelo lands on Crawford, I'm not saying he's going to have the same reaction, but I think he's going to have the same thought. Like, what was that shit that came from Guadalajara, Jalisco, Mexico? And it's not going to be nothing nice. So let's see what happens. But the reality is the durability concerns are going to be there because if Canelo's losing weight, now, what happens? Does the fatigue show up? Does he develop what I call dead leg? You know what I'm saying? Stamina may be a little bit better, but what about durability if Crawford's able to get to him with them long arms, them tentacles and shit, touching up Guadalajara, Jalisco's finest? what happens to his durability? Two things for Canelo is his power and his chin is everything. You know, the IQ, he has so much more, but you know what I'm saying. What happens now to his durability? I just think at a lighter weight, Canelo may be more vulnerable to shots. And the shots that, you know, that I'm talking about, I just did a video on it, them body shots. Especially if him trying to come in there with this streamlined physique, if the weight cut just happen to be have a little bit of extremeness to it. If the weight cut doesn't go as easy as they think it is, that could all be bad for his durability. But that being said, Canelo and his team, they're smart. So if they did choose to come in lighter, or when I say lighter, just enough to have to pick up the speed a little bit and have faster feet. Doesn't mean they're gonna come in at 150, 154 and shit. But muscle depletion is something else that I'd be concerned about. But of course, the smart people, he got all the money in the world to bring on the right team if he chose to do it. But again, if not done properly, again, you cutting weight, it could sap his explosiveness and leave him flat-footed anyway. So maybe it's best to just not even worry about trying to cut that weight, because even if he does that, the flat-footedness and being slow and shit, then he becomes slow because he's kind of drained. So I don't know. There's some pros definitely to Canelo coming in lighter and being faster, but there are definitely some cons too, and I'm sure that he and his team understand. But for Crawford, going from 154 to bubble up to whatever weight he's going to be at come fight night, for a guy like Canelo to possibly, who weighs in at 168, to come down to a certain weight, maybe he kind of bridges the gap. And now you have he and Crawford weighing in at the same weight, and both of them coming in where Crawford is more powerful. Maybe Canelo's not as powerful, but still powerful, but he doesn't edge Crawford as much. Conversely, Crawford comes up in speed, but he gives up a little bit of his speed. But Canelo comes down in weight, and Canelo picks up some speed, so Crawford doesn't edge him out as much. So you can see that it almost comes to a bit of a happy medium between the two. Not that they're agreeing to it, it's just how the stars kind of line up. So pros and cons for both of those guys. But the bottom line is Canelo's a very dangerous technician. And speed can enhance Canelo's technical mastery. I just want to see the fight, I'll be honest with you, but when you have the IQ of a guy like Crawford, a guy like Canelo, you have the speed. Canelo likes to set traps, and so does Crawford. But if Canelo can be faster, I mean, there's no one out there who's a master trap setter like Canelo. Canelo sets traps. He's so smart. He has so much experience, man. He just gets in the fights, and you can see he's super comfortable. Even if he's at a disadvantage, you can see he's always thinking and saying, you know, I can win this. And most of the time, he's won his fights. You just have Mayweather, and you have Bivol. That's it. And a little bit of ups and downs with Triple G and Lara. It's not like he wasn't competitive, because everybody has an opinion on those fights. But what I'm saying is, there's only with Mayweather, whatever. I think Mayweather beat him, but he didn't. It's not that Canelo wasn't competitive. And with Bivol, Canelo was trying, but Bivol was just on a whole nother level. But with more speed and the other advantages against a guy like Crawford, I think if he uses his head movement and he's able to use his feint and he has a little more speed, I think he could bait a guy like Crawford into overcommitting. But the thing is, he can react a lot quicker to any mistakes Crawford makes. A slower Canelo with a nimble Crawford may not be able to react as quick to the mistakes that Crawford may make. Because believe you me, when Crawford's inside that ring, Crawford knows what he's in there against. Y'all may actually see Crawford move more than what you guys are expecting, because you know what? A good example. You know what? I should save this for another video, but I'm gonna give it to you right now. Let you know how my mind works. Crawford and Canelo could end up being like Tyson Fury, Deontay Wilder in the first fight, where Tyson Fury, in my opinion, could have probably put the Bing Bings on water in that first fight. But he chose to box and move and was worried about the power. And as a result, the fight went a certain direction. But if he would have stepped to water, things could have been different. But you're going to see here with Canelo, who is going to be faster on his feet. You're going to see where maybe he chooses to fight a different fight than what he would if he was just to come in at his normal weight and try to outweigh Crawford by 20 pounds. Same thing for Terence Crawford. Crawford may get in there and plan to maybe step to Canelo, but then all of a sudden he's getting hit a little bit more than what he expected because Canelo's reaction time is better because he's cut weight. And now Crawford goes and kind of pulls up Fury water and where he boxes more like Fury did in the first fight. But if Canelo was slow, a lot slower, and Crawford was able to kind of have his way, maybe he would push it a little bit more, man, and try to actually step to Canelo in the fight. So I just think the weight and the speed could make a huge difference for both fighters on the way they approach the fight. But one thing about Canelo, he's really good at slipping punches and countering. You know, before I thought about Canelo possibly cutting enough weight to where he picks up his speed just enough to really compete with Crawford, I was thinking, you know what, man? How's he going to slip those punches when Crawford's letting his hands go? Fast hands, long arms, great timing. How's Canelo going to slip that? But now, when you think about it, he may be able to slip them with precision, and he may be able to catch Crawford mid-combination now. Because a slow Canelo, a good thing Crawford can do is exchange with him, but exit. Can't linger around too long. But a fast Canelo, one of the worst things Crawford can do is try to punch with him. That shit could be suicide. But again, Canelo's known for setting traps. He'll lean out of range with shots are thrown, and then he'll try to counter with an uppercut or a right hand over the top. A slow Canelo against Crawford, that leaning back shit ain't gonna fly because Crawford got long arms. So you lean back, that's boxing 101. Crawford probably just gonna step with him. But he knows when Canelo leans back, more than likely he's coming back with something, a counter. But a faster Canelo can probably pull that off, that lean back and counter shit that he does. He can pull that off and probably have a lot more success with it. So again, very interesting. But the number one thing with Canelo and him being faster is explosive counter punching. Let me tell you something. If Canelo can pick up his speed just a little bit, going to capitalize on instant openings, man. He's going to touch up Crawford. He'll hurt Terence Crawford. I'm telling you, he's going to hurt him, man. Because it's not just a matter of having fast hands. It's the timing and the perfection of the shots that Canelo throws. So when he can add a little more speed to his shots, shit's going to be mind-blowing. It's like when he fought out, what's his name, Berlanga. Was it the first round? That left hook he threw, I mean, it just came out of nowhere. That was a single shot. And look at how he set it up, though. But how fast it was. Could you imagine if he was able to have a little more speed than what he had in that fight, what he would have done to Edgar Berlanga? Also, he needed killer instinct because Canelo seemed like he kind of carried him. But if he comes into the fight with Crawford with hands faster than what he showed in that Edgar Berlanga fight, I'm just saying it's going to be a long night for Terence Crawford. And Terence Crawford is great, but we're just talking hypothetically if Canelo comes in lighter with faster hands and doesn't sacrifice too much of his power. But anyway, you could ask Amir Khan about Canelo's power, Canelo's speed, and he'll let you know about going up in weight and messing around with Canelo because Canelo is a beast. Devastating shots. It was the right hand that damn near killed him. I mean, some people thought Amir Khan was dead. That shit was pretty sad to see, but Amir Khan has heart, so it is what it is. Also, with at the lighter weight, I've talked about this in other videos, but maybe now you'll finally see Canelo get back to throwing those creative combinations. I always bring up the damn James Kirkland fight, the Angulo fight. You watch Canelo and even Miguel Cotto. You watch them damn combination Canelo was throwing on those three opponents. That shit was something sweet, wasn't it? Something beautiful the way Canelo was throwing those combinations. But he hasn't shown that in the last, many fights. But if he can somehow, with this fight against Crawford, get back to the creative combinations, mixing power, mixing deception, being able to vary rhythms, being able to use angles, making it hard for Crawford to anticipate his next move, Canelo's going to have some big-time success. Matter of fact, if he's able to do all that, and you bring the feints into the equation, he's going to freeze Terence Crawford. Because Crawford's going to have he's going to have information overload. His mind's going to explode trying to process what's going on inside the ring. It's like he go catch a virus, a Canelo virus and shit. Had to get virus protection software inside there because there's going to be too much shit to process. And it's going to be all bad. So anyway, it'll be interesting to see if Canelo can let go rapid fire combinations like we've seen him do before. But again, I haven't seen him do it in the last few fights. Maybe if he cuts a little bit of weight, maybe he gets back to that. But it's not that easy to do against somebody like Terence Crawford, I'll tell you that, man. But the one thing for sure that foot speed, man, I got to keep coming back to that damn foot speed, man. His foot speed will help him maintain his balance while slipping shots and returning fire. And his feet haven't looked the fastest, but if he can kind of put a little pep in his step, he's going to be okay. And even if Crawford's having success, Canelo have a little pep in his step. I'm not saying he's going to run, but he can use some sharp movements and some angles and pivots to kind of get out of danger a lot faster. So it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Crawford's timing is the great equalizer. That's something I think we just got to keep into consideration. Even a fast Canelo, Crawford's timing, man, and the way he makes reads on opponents, you just have to think that somebody gonna get frustrated. Somebody gonna figure it out. The timing from both of them is legendary, but definitely Crawford coming up. Maybe he'd be just a little bit faster. It's about who's gonna be able to beat who to the punch. Maybe Crawford beats Canelo to the punch, but his punches don't have the effect that Canelo's has on Terence Crawford. So he's beating him to the punch, but maybe Canelo's just laughing that shit off. I don't know. Maybe Crawford beat him to the punch, and Canelo is saying to himself, holy shit, this guy Crawford really does hit hard. I see why he's rated #1 pound for pound. I'm the face of boxing, but he's the top dog pound for pound. Some people say Usyk. Usyk will tell you Crawford, so we're going to say Crawford for this video. Anyway, we'll see what happens, man. Crawford, switch hitting, timing, distance control. Canelo, he has all that, but against Crawford, you'd have to think he'd have to be lighter to compete in those areas. And we just got to wait and see. Will Canelo sacrifice his power, just some of his power, to have more speed, to get in that ring and put the bing-bings on Terence Crawford? I don't know. But it would be very interesting to see Crawford come up in weight, Canelo come down in weight, see what happened with them two animals clash inside that ring on September 13th. Anyway, it's August 7th, so yeah, shit. Fight's about a month away, man. Can't wait to see it. Anyway, y'all keep cool. Shout out to the veterans, all 7 continents. I'm about to go to bed and chill, man. Tomorrow I'll probably have like 3-4 more videos. I'm going to talk about something different, but I'm having fun with this Canelo and Terence Crawford shit because I can see this fight going either way. I can see Canelo getting there and knocking Crawford out cold. I can see Crawford getting there, man, and touching up Canelo, investing to the body. Then all of a sudden he out-staminas Canelo, and then he picks up the pace. First time we see Canelo get stopped. I can see it going both ways. I really can. The Canelo fans can't see him losing. The Crawford fans can't see him losing. But y'all know Hood Champion don't give a shit. I don't have favorite fighters. My 2 favorite fighters were Zab Judah and Chris Bird. And for those of you saying, why Zab Judah and Chris Bird, man? Because Zab Judah, I learned how to throw that lead left uppercut because I fought southpaw. And Chris Bird because he helped me with just learning defense and staying calm and shit. So I picked up a lot from those guys, man. And when I took, it ain't about me. It's about Crawford and Canelo. But I'll just say this: I used to watch those. I had those DVD, all these boxes DVDs. I used to watch the DVDs and watch the things they were doing. Then the next day I would go spar. All I would say was, "Here comes the boom. Y'all keep cool. I'm in the breeze."